The first time I saw red and blue lights reflecting off my cabin windows, I thought maybe a bear got in my trash again. But nope, turns out my biggest problem on this quiet lakeshore wasn't wildlife. It was a human named Diana Lawrence and the iron grip she had on our so-called community. She stood next to the sheriff's cruiser that night, arms folded like she was about to issue a royal decree, watching four deputies walk up to my porch like they were about to drag out a wanted man. All this because I painted my porch blue. Deep, bright cobalt, my favorite color since I was a kid, watching my dad cast his fishing line on this same lake, telling me the water looked like melted sapphires when the sun hit it just right. I bought this cabin with my own savings to get away from city noise, from bosses barking deadlines at 2 a.m., from my own fried nerves after too many years working code for people who thought remote meant I should answer emails at midnight. So yeah, the porch was going to be blue. It was mine. But to Diana Lawrence, president, founder, and self-appointed queen of Cedar Pines Lakeside Homeowners Association, that paint was an act of rebellion she wasn't about to tolerate. When she first stomped up to my ladder, clipboard bouncing against her stiff white blouse, she didn't even say hi. She barked, "You'll need to submit that color change for approval, mister." She didn't know my name, didn't care to. I climbed down, specks of blue drying in my beard, and said, "Name's Sam Harris. Nice to meet you. But I checked the plat maps, ma'am. This cabin's not in the HOA." My lawyer confirmed it before I closed on the sale. Her mouth twitched like she'd tasted something sour. "We have community standards. Nobody wants to see this circus color blinding the lake." I told her politely, my property, my porch, we're done here. But Diana Lawrence never accepts done. First came the printed notices, unauthorized modifications, unapproved mailbox, offensive yard ornament. For the record, the ornament was an old metal weather vane shaped like a loon, something my dad left me when he passed. Then came the fines. Then came Sheriff Daniels, looking more apologetic every time he knocked on my door to respond to another urgent community disturbance. By the fourth visit, he didn't even bother pretending. He stepped inside, tipped his hat, and said, "Sam, between you and me, she's got the county board eating out of her hand. She calls, I gotta respond. But you're not breaking any law here. Not yet, anyway." So that night, after the deputies left, again finding nothing wrong but my stubborn streak, I sat on my porch under the porch light, blue paint glowing soft in the moonlight, and I decided, enough. If Diana wanted a fight, she was about to get one. I spent the next week combing through every dusty box at the county records office, living on bad coffee and microwave burritos until I found it buried under a misfiled easement agreement from 1986. Cedar Pines HOA was officially chartered 3 lots south of mine. It never legally included my land. That line on the survey? Clear as day. The kicker? Wisconsin's Residential Freedom Act, passed in 1983, specifically forbids any HOA from enforcing rules on properties not incorporated at the time of their registration. I could have just waved this in Diana's smug face, but I knew bullies like her don't care about paperwork until a judge pounded a gavel. So I started quietly gathering allies. There were 4 other cabins outside her kingdom, old-timers mostly, a retired librarian named Florence, a disabled veteran named Roy and his wife, a young couple who'd inherited a fixer-upper from their grandparents. Every single one of them had stories. Surprise finds in the mailbox, threats to turn off shared well access, anonymous calls to code enforcement about hazardous conditions. It was all intimidation, soft at first, then heavier if you didn't bend. Florence whispered, "She wants to sell the entire lakeshore to a developer. Always has. They need us gone to break ground." When Roy grumbled, "What can we do? We can't afford lawyers." I looked at the stack of violation notices on my own kitchen counter and said, "You don't need to. I'll carry it to court for all of us." So next HOA meeting, her Royal Diana perched at the head table, smug behind her gavel. I stood up during public comment. My voice shook at first, but I found my footing. I laid out copies of the original boundary documents, the Freedom Act, and the signed affidavits from my fellow holdouts. I pointed right at Diana and said, "Ma'am, you have no more right to tell me what color my porch should be than to tell Roy what flag he can fly or Florence when she can mow her grass. This stops today, or we'll let a judge sort it out." She laughed, actually laughed. "You think you can outlawyer the HOA, Mr. Harris? Bless your heart. But 2 weeks later, when my pro bono attorney, an old college buddy who owed me a favor, filed harassment and fraud suit in county court, her laugh stopped echoing real quick. I won't lie. The weeks leading up to the hearing were hell. Diana ramped up the petty nonsense. New citations, mysterious break-ins at Roy's shed, a rumor that I was running an illegal Airbnb. She cornered Florence in the driveway, hissed that she'd lose her well access if she kept backing me up. Florence, sweet old librarian she is, flipped her the bird. Then came the final straw. Diana filed for an emergency injunction to forcibly repaint my porch and halt all unapproved renovations. She even submitted an altered map showing my lot inside the HOA. Nice try, but I had the originals. The day of court, half the town showed up. Diana strutted in like she owned the marble floors. When the judge asked why she believed she had jurisdiction over my cabin, she waved her shiny new map like it was gospel. My attorney barely suppressed a grin as he handed the judge certified plats, the Freedom Act, and a signed affidavit from the county surveyor. When the judge looked back at Diana, the whole room knew it was over before she spoke. Mrs. Lawrence, you have zero legal authority here. This injunction is denied. Mr. Harris, your counterclaim for harassment and damages proceeds. Diana turned sheet white. Thomas, her so-called lawyer/cousin, kept whispering in her ear, but the damage was done. A week later, the court ordered the HOA to pay me and the other holdouts restitution, cover our legal fees, and dissolve any false liens on our deeds. The cherry on top? Remember that developer Florence mentioned? Local news picked up the story. Public outrage killed that luxury resort plan overnight. Turns out people around here prefer loons and pine trees to another golf course. Diana didn't last 2 months after that verdict. A recall vote kicked her out as president. Word is she packed up her clipboard and moved in with her sister 3 counties over. Last I heard, she's trying to join another HOA board. I wish those poor neighbors luck. Me? I'm still here working code by day, grilling brats on my blue porch by night, waving at Roy when he drives by on his ATV. Sometimes Sheriff Daniel stops for coffee, laughs about how he should have retired sooner to avoid all the drama. And Florence? She still flips the bird every time she sees a nosy drone buzzing over her roses. If you stuck around this long, do me a favor. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever stood up to a bully in your neighborhood? Would you fight or just sell and move on? I say this, fight smart, fight hard, and never let someone with a fake badge tell you your home isn't yours. See you by the lake, friends.